Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Ultra Hardware. This is their part number 47001. This is a storm door latch. This is what it looks like in the packaging, just turning it so you can see it reasonably close up. Installation instructions down here with the screw package. They have one removed from the packaging, so let's dive in and take a look at it. You're going to get the exterior trim. The push button is not captive, so be mindful of the fact that it can come out. This is in a silver finish. It's available in white and black as well, I believe. Let's take a look. The 47006 is the black version. The 47008 is the white version. The 01 is the silver or aluminum colored version. You will get the strike, spring-loaded strike. You will get the push latch for the inside. You will get a couple of, in the hardware package, you'll get a couple of shims for the strike if you need it to pad it out a little bit. Thinner one and a thicker one. We'll go over some dimensional properties in a moment. You'll get the spindle that will operate the entire unit. We'll show that in a moment. You will get screws for the strike. You'll get screws to go through the latch and then into the tapped holes on the exterior to go right through the door. There's a total of 4 of those, and those are going to be because you've got a different door thickness that you can contend with. Okay, let's get into some dimensional properties of the hardware itself. Okay, let's start with, I'm going to let that button come out, the push button. I don't want it to drop and hit the floor. Overall height of the unit itself, now the overall, about 7 3/16 as you can see. Going to have an overall projection, and these dimensions are just to help you determine if this is what you need as a match. About 1 3/4 inch. Overall width up at the top, about 1 1/4 inch. Down at the bottom, looks like it's about 5/16. Forgive me, about 5/8, 9/16. Okay. Now the screw holes. This model is specifically the 1.5 inch center to center. There are 3 versions, pardon me, there is one version that's 1 3/4 inch center to center on these screws, and here are the part numbers: 47005 for the black version, 47000 for the aluminum colored version, and then 47010 for the white version. Stand by. No, forgive me. The 1 3/4 inch does not give you a white version. There is a 47010, which is a hammered black version. And these, I should say, these are what's called a resilient strike. If you've got a spring-loaded strike, it's called a resilient strike. There are others that are just simply solid. Solid strikes would simply not be called resilient. So if you see the term resilient, it means this type of strike. Okay. Now the inside latch handle, let's get some basic dimensions. Overall, about 2 1/4 inch. About an inch, pardon me, about 3/4 inch wide. Projection from the face of the door, about 1 3/4 inch. The strike itself, about 2 11/16 or 2 5/8, let's say, tall, with a width about 13/16, with a total projection looks like it's about 1/2 inch. Okay. Now the dimensions regarding the screws are indicated in the installation instructions. If you've got a door that's less than 1 inch thick, you'll use the shorter one. And you've got one that's over 1 inch thick, you'll use the longer ones, is the bottom line with that. Now let's start with the installation instructions and go through those And they are linked to down below this video where you'll be able to review. First of all, the installation instructions start with instructions on how to prepare the door for drilling. If you're replacing an existing, you're obviously skipping all of that and going right down to step 4. But if you are going to be drilling a new door, the template down here, you're going to fold across this vertical line naturally. You're going to place it at a vertical height that's compatible with what it is that you are, or where it is that's compatible with your installation. Obviously, you're going to want to make sure that you're not in conflict with any existing trim. You want to do a reality check on the installation to make sure that the door is going to close, that you've got adequate space between two doors to get the door closed and everything to fit correctly, which you certainly would. The template is there to allow you to mark properly the holes. They're 1.5 inch center for these 2 holes. You'll drill a 3rd hole that will allow the spindle to be installed. They want you to fold it over on this line and place it against whatever the furthest projecting item is, such as the stop, or maybe what they would call a Z-bar, a small thin blade, a blade of material that would act as the stop. That could be quite thin, so you'd measure off of that, is the bottom line. I would very much encourage you to mark the holes, double check everything, especially where the latch, the strike, is going to come into relationship with the handle to be sure that it all seems like it's going to fit, because you need this dimension to be appropriate so that when you're in the locked position, you're actually latched. So you want to make sure that the strike itself is going to fit inside of this area so that the door will be retained in the closed position. So that's crucial to get that set, but they will also give you those 2 shims for reviewing that. Go over the thickness of those 2 shims. The thin one is 60 thousandths, 0.060. The thicker one is probably 90 thousandths, but let's take a look at it. 0.115. 0.115. Almost 1/8 of an inch. You add the 2 together and you'll get 3/16, should you need that. If for some reason you have to pad that off. You'll want to drill the holes carefully. I like to use a center punch so that when I put the 1/16 of an inch drill bit, my pilot bit, it will stay nestled and not walk at all. You're going to want to obviously be careful to not, if you're going to use a center punch, to not rattle the door, assuming there's glass in it, to the point where you can cause trouble with that. I like to mark the hole, and when you've got a 1/16 of an inch drill bit, it generally doesn't walk very much before it starts to pierce in when you're drilling it. 3 holes that are 5/16 of an inch diameter. It also states it'll work for 1/4 inch holes. You know, I would use 5/16. It's nice to have a little bit of play there so that you can get it positioned on the door perfectly in spot where you want it. I would recommend that you drill from either side of the door. Drilling through the door invites, of course, the holes to not be straight. So you want to be mindful of that as well. Once you've got the holes prepped, they're basically saying put your outside trim on, and that's where the push button comes into play. Okay. The spindle's going to just basically set inside of there so that it looks just like that. This spring, this conical shaped spring, and there was an actual name for that type of spring. That's going to sit on the inside face or the outside face of the door, so that when you push, it'll look like that. And when that is depressed, the outside thumb piece, what it's going to do is it's going to retract. It's going to push the latch out so that it frees the latch from the strike, allowing you to exit, or enter for that matter. Okay, that's just simply how that's going to work. Okay, obviously being able to keep it in the locked position is permitted. Okay. The top and bottom holes, of course, will be for the screws for here, 1.5 inches, and that center hole is for the thumb piece, or the spindle. You will have at that point exhausted, once you've got the strike installed, all of the screws basically, except there is one small screw here that's included. That will be, of course, for the bottom part of the pull handle. That's where that one's going to go. Yo. At that point, you will have 2 screws left over, the ones that you didn't use for the body. Okay. The installation instructions might seem a bit overwhelming, but there's 2 languages, so pick the one you're going to work with. Basically, the bottom of that is a template. That's a drawing. So that's really what you're dealing with. And if you're dealing with a replacement installation, you're really dealing with that much. So the point is that installing these are simple and straightforward. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Ultra hardware products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you have any questions on the Ultra Hardware 47001 storm door latch or any other Ultra product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.